start the stream, announce it. There we go. And yes. Okay, let me double check if everything is working fine on my end, on the stream, and then we can start. If everything is working fine on my end, 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. Okay, seems it's working fine. Okay, seems it's working fine. Let me sit into my original position here. Let me know, by the way, if you can start. Let me know if you're down to start.
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome everyone in the very new episode of my Dev Live show. Today I'm joined with Daniel, who is the creator of the game called Necromancer Comet. And I'm very thankful and very honored that you joined us for today's episode. Like I'm always saying, let's start with a little bit of introduction. So please introduce yourself for us.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you.
So my name is Daniel Tsioni. I live in New York City.
I see.
And I'm a software engineer by trade.
I see.
But after a few years working in the industry, I decided that I wanted to pursue my passion in game development. I always loved video games growing up, like a lot of other people. But I felt that once I learned how to program and once I learned how to engineer software, that I could actually make my own. So I quit my job 4 years ago and went all in on making my own game. I created my own studio, which I called Dang Rascal Studio, and I made a path building tower defense game called the Necromancer Comet, which is currently available in early access and which I'm planning on releasing into the full release later this year.
I see. Thank you for that, and thank you again for your honesty about the topic of introduction. So my very first question would be, what was your very first contact with video games as a player, if you remember those times of your past? Like you mentioned, you always loved playing video games.
Yeah. Probably my earliest memory of playing video games was playing these like Pajama Sam and Spy Fox games.
Nice. The Among Us collection. Yeah. Nice. The Freddy Fish. Yeah.
Yeah. Those are really fun. And I remember we just played them over and over again. But growing up, I mean, video games are just were just a huge part of my childhood. So going to friends' houses and playing Halo was a big part of my childhood.
Nice.
And then eventually I got introduced to real-time strategy games. I was playing like Age of Empires 3 and Warcraft 3, StarCraft 1. And Warcraft 3 ended up having like probably the biggest impact on me. So I think that game had the single biggest influence on what I ultimately ended up creating myself.
I see.
And then, yeah, I mean, I've just been playing video games ever since then.
I see. You mentioned that like it wasn't like for a lot of years that you made your first step into the video game industry itself and making games by your own. What could cause that effect? Like what could cause that effect that you only a few years ago made this first step of yours?
I definitely did a bit of video game development as a hobby.
I see.
Before then. I always found it extremely interesting and very engaging, but and I definitely wanted to explore doing that professionally earlier, but I kind of took a more pragmatic approach to it just because I didn't see a way for me to do that professionally until I learned how to engineer software. So before then, I just didn't see a path. There are definitely people who go to college for video game development, but my parents wouldn't let me do that. So I went to college for computer science.
I see.
And after getting my degree, after working in the industry, I felt that was the only time I felt I was ready to do it.
Do you feel, by the way, from this, what you have said just now, if your parents let you go to a school or to university which teaches you video game development, you would made the first step way earlier in order to make your first games or game?
It's hard to say, but I think that my greatest strength as a developer currently is just that I do have a really strong foundation in programming.
I see, I
Um,
see, I see, I see, I see.
so I don't think I could have done what I did without that.
I see. So
Those
it
really strong
ended up
fundamentals.
a-okay by you doing this before stepping into the video game industry
Yeah,
itself. I see, I see.
yeah. I'm actually very happy that that was the path that I took.
I see, I see, I see. Was it, by the way, hard pill to swallow for you that you cannot go to video game oriented school? Because you mentioned that parents didn't let
Yeah.
you, right? So that's why I'm asking. If you don't mind, of course, me asking this question.
No, please. At that time, I understood why I couldn't do that.
I see.
I felt that I had to learn how to just be like a responsible person.
I see. Yeah.
I wasn't good at school
I see.
when I was in before college, and so I I kind of just wanted to get down to the basics of being a responsible student and seeing if I can just get a good job before I did something, based on my passions.
I see. I see. Do you feel like by these studies of yours that you went through and completed it finally, you gained the confidence that you always wanted to have in order to make your games?
Yeah, for sure. I basically I gained my confidence as a programmer when I finally got promoted at my job.
I see. I see. I see. I see.
And then I realized I knew what I was doing. And then the idea of going and making a video game, it didn't feel the risk wasn't technical. The risk, I knew I could program and make the game.
I see.
The question was only if I could achieve the creative and the business side of that.
I see. I see. I see. But like you said before, you always had the passion and drive for it, so it probably like was always there for you too, not just the technical side, but also like the creative side, I believe. So, okay,
Yeah, I mean, I think that what I see a lot of in the video game development space is just that a lot of people love video games and they come when they're young, they come to these development spaces and they try to make a game and they have no idea what they're doing. And that's because, and that's supposed to be that way because video games are extremely complicated to make.
sure.
And so what a lot of people do is try to learn how to program and how to make games at the same time. And I think that that's a recipe for failure, just because both of those things are really complicated and really hard. And if you're trying to learn how to program and how to make video games, you're just setting yourself up for failure at both. I really think people should learn how to program first and then learn how to program video games second.
I see. I see. So you have the tools for really making your creative masterminds into the project, right? So, like you said, it's very true, and I agree with you on that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, video games are software,
True.
and so
True.
they have all of the same considerations, engineering considerations that any other piece of software has, with additional complexities on top of it. Video games are probably so second only to military applications. Video games are probably the most complicated form of software that exists. And if you don't fully understand what you're getting yourself into and what all the engineering considerations are, it's very common that people start these projects and never finish them because
True.
the complexity just gets out of hand. And so that's why I think having a strong engineering background is a huge boon to your success.
True. I agree with that. But I also would add that I feel like it could also like end up to the other side of the same coin where like people know the technology itself and how to code and how to program very well, but they might end up in that, ship of having like the structure itself for the ship, but not being able to, cruise with the ship. I mean by like they do not have like the creative side of the personalities and minds with their the projects that they would like to make. Because I've seen games where like they were shining within their technologies and the gameplay aspects, but the story wasn't there, right? So or the meaning or the message, because it can happen, right, that people are so focused on the gameplay side and the technologies that the story is not there, which is fine, of course, because there are games which are only gameplay based, right? So it's not that it's bad. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just like it's very rare when a creator is or can be good if it's a solo developer or a small team on all of the ends of the project, right, or all of the topics, I believe. So that's why you have to choose, like you said. And I think what comes naturally is like, it's not even you choosing or anyone choosing it. It's like, I feel like what is more close to the people who are making games, right? Because I believe so that if programming is not close to somebody, they might not choose that, right? So they might choose the creative process instead, like writing the story or writing the music, or writing the theme, the setting for the game. So yeah.
I mean, I think another thing that people get wrong about video games is that they seem to think that programming the game and designing the game are the same skill set.
Yeah.
And they're really not. They're actually two totally different skill sets, and they have zero relationship to one another. So people think that if they can make a game on a technical level, that they're capable of designing a fun game.
True.
That's another reason why succeeding in this field is so hard, is that there's an overlap. You have to be good at a lot of different things.
True.
And so finding, understanding where your strengths are and where your weaknesses are is really important. So
Exactly.
That's why with my project, I did all the programming because I knew I could do that. But when it came to the art and the music, I knew that I wasn't going to learn how to draw or compose music in any short amount of time. And so I just deferred to somebody else's expertise on that.
But it's good that you had this mentality, that you accepted that you might not be the best in that field, and you're trying to work with others or to evolve your knowledge, right? So you have to be that person who accepts like not knowing everything, right? And being on the lookout to chase knowledge in order to gain and evolve and be better at something. Yeah, I respect that. Thank you. So another question, it will be a more personal question. You started talking about it, but I'm interested in this field as well. Were your family members and close friends supportive about this decision of yours that you started or made the first step into the video game industry as well? Because like you mentioned before, going from that topic, that they did not let you go for the video game industry studies, but you did your studies and you also went for the video game industry itself. Were they supportive about this decision? How do you feel about it?
I think they were supportive.
I see.
Once I was able to work in the industry for a few years, then I think they gained a lot of trust that I was that I was like responsible.
So you are doing something responsible, yeah, like you said.
Yeah, and then that's always just a good fallback, that if the game development stuff doesn't work, that I can go back to software engineering. Are they happy that I'm still doing it 4 years later? I'm not sure, but I hope so.
I see. And what about your friends?
Yeah, definitely. My friends were pretty helpful also to help me like test the game out and stuff.
I see. Is it important for you, by the way, on a mental state, to have this mentally supportive background in your life? How do you feel about it? Or you have done it anyway if people did not support you throughout your journey as a game developer?
I mean, it definitely helps, but I don't rely on it to the extent that if people weren't supportive.
Are you stubborn in this way? Like you have so much passion for video games that you're kind of stubborn, that you always push through the walls in order to achieve your dreams?
I'm actually stubborn to the point that it like concerns me.
I see.
I definitely would do this even if a lot of people thought it wasn't a good idea.
I see. But that matters, and it shows that you're passionate about your projects and your dreams, right? So you have to be in order to like gain success and finish the projects you want to make. Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out where that passion comes from. I hope it's coming from like a good place, but I definitely I want very badly to succeed.
I
Um,
see.
and so I'm very like, I have a lot of willpower when it comes to that.
I respect that and I love that. Nice, nice. Throughout the journey of your life as a game developer, what was the favorite moment or favorite moments of the process of making your games so far? Even those which were like hobby oriented games, even those that you published so far.
Um, Probably my favorite moment was when I finally started to get the art assets back from the artist,
I see.
and I could see the game taking shape.
I see.
Um, I spent probably, I think, a year and a half coding before I started commissioning assets to put into the game.
I see.
And before that, the game kind of exists mostly in your imagination, even though it like functions on a technical level. The game kind of exists mostly in your imagination, and you have to imagine that these placeholder assets that you're using are the characters that you're thinking of. And so once I was able to get the artist um, to help me take what I was imagining and make it real, it made me, yeah, it just the game started to like really come to life at that point.
I see.
So that's probably my favorite moment in this development.
I see. What about the hardest part or parts throughout the process of making your games so far?
I think the hardest part is actually finishing and releasing.
I see.
Um, it the development process is so complicated, and there's so many things that you have to deal with that it's very easy to let the project kind of get away from you. And yeah, like a ton of people start stuff and just never ever finish it. And I really wanted to make sure that that didn't happen to me. So I made sure from the beginning that releasing the game and finishing it and getting it into players' hands and putting it on Steam and actually selling copies was the most important
I see.
priority out of maybe second only to making a game that wasn't bad.
I see.
But um, besides that, releasing had to be the top priority. And so at there were many points during the development journey that I had to take a step back and say, I'm adding a ton of stuff that I'm not going to be able to finish. And I just have to cut it out because I'm just never going to be able to
It's going
release
to be a
if I keep
forever
going down this path.
process, right? Of adding everything that
Yeah.
you would like to. Yeah.
And that's a major struggle because you're battling with the creative side of yourself that just
True,
wants to
true,
add
true.
more and more
Yeah,
and more.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But that is probably what makes a person a good um like a good developer is finishing.
True, true,
So
true, true.
yeah.
And you can always add later, right? If the game can be opens
Yeah.
to that certain level of adding new things, even story oriented stuff or level stuff. Yeah, yeah. Did it
Yeah,
happen, by
exactly.
the way, a lot to you that you had to cut out things, like you mentioned,
Um
or no?
yeah, I mean I think that's actually something I do pretty well is
I
cut
see,
things
I
out.
see.
Because there's a phrase which is kill your darling.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know that. Yeah,
And yeah, you need to kill a lot of your darlings because if you get too attached to something, basically creating something good is as much uh, destroying as it is creating.
true.
And what I mean is that think about think about if you're gonna make, let's say, a house, obviously you have to put things together. But if you're gonna make a marble statue, you're actually removing things, right?
True.
And so both of these are part of the creative process, and essentially you have to remove everything that's not a good game as much as you have to add things that are good. So ultimately, um, I wanted my game to be relatively simple and straight to the point, and
I see.
the player a very meaningful, rich experience, and that meant getting rid of anything that was superfluous or anything that was distracting the player.
I see.
And it's actually very removing things is actually a very like liberating feeling, just because you realize that you're not attached to anything that you're making. You're attached to the final goal.
See. Were there anything, by the way, throughout the process of making your own game that was removed and then you could go back to it and reuse it at a later date of the project?
Yeah, I mean, I
itself?
think actually everything that I added that I removed at one point ended up in one way or another coming back later to
I
help
see, I
me.
see, I see, I see.
So a lot of the functionality that I built to support very complicated features showed up later. For example, I experimented with my game's a path building tower defense game, and what that means is that uh, where you place your towers blocks the path of the enemy, and then you can use that to your advantage and create complicated paths through the level. And one of the features that I experimented with was creating towers that were not just squares, but had more complex shapes. Like for example, Tetris piece shapes, which other games have done. And ultimately, that was something that I felt was kind of distracting from uh, the main feature of the game. But it did come back later in that I was able to create towers that um, were, instead of being a 1x1 grid space, they were 2x2 grid spaces or 2x1 grid spaces. And even though that's not as complicated as like Tetris piece shapes, that functionality, I wouldn't have been able to add that if I didn't first go down this path of trying to add more complex tower shapes. And so
I see.
that's just one example, but it happened like dozens of times that I I built out a relatively complicated feature and then scaled it back to like its very, very, very basic set functionality, and that ended up in the game.
I see. I believe, by the way, that all of us creators who create our own craft, we always intend to put our inner self into the projects that we make. Even if
Mhm.
it's about experiencing happy times in our past, even if it's sad times, even if experiencing having a loss in our life or some very happy moments about something happened in our life. Is this statement of mine true for your projects that you make come to life? And if yes, if the answer is yes, what examples could you bring to the table?
I mean, I definitely agree. I think yeah, I think it's true of all art, which is that you're trying to kind of capture um, something about the way that you see the world and something
I see.
about um, yeah, art is a reflection of the artist. Because naturally you can't create something that's not a part of yourself.
True, true, true. Like you can't fake it. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
It's just not possible. It's
True,
not possible to
true,
create something that doesn't originate from you.
true.
And so um, when it comes to my game, it definitely captures like a certain way that I look at the world.
I see.
Um, which is so if you look at the overall aesthetic of the game, it's very kind of like tongue in cheek. The music is kind of uh, cheeky. I base it on British ska,
I see.
which I like, and everything's very colorful. There's just like a lot of delight and joy.
I see.
You can look at other games. That's definitely not true of other games. Some games are like kind of dark and depressing, and some games are um, whatever. Everyone's trying to kind of send a message when they're making
True,
something, and
true,
so.
true, true.
But for me, it's important that. So I think it's important that I think true creativity comes from um, essentially it comes from the unconscious mind, and the conscious mind is just like a conduit for actually manifesting that in the world. So what that means is, I didn't necessarily set out it. If you want to come out and deliberately put a message in your art, then your art is coming kind of close to being propaganda, which is that you have something that you want to say.
Yeah, but it's not
And
always a
then
problem. If you're trying to help people with, like you said, the propaganda stuff, it's not always bad, right? Like if you're
right,
trying to teach people how to love each other or how to be kind with each other, I don't think it's a bad propaganda, like you mentioned it, or
right.
yeah, this
I
meaningful.
guess I'm using the word propaganda more
No,
in a
it's
technical
no,
sense.
it's the right word in my opinion. It's the right word. It's just like there are some good propagandas, like you use the word.
Yeah.
So it's like, or the messages or whatever we call it. It's just like you have to really like think about it. And I feel like a lot of people are saying if you're trying to preach, it's not always the best thing to do. But it's not that. So how to say? I agree with you on one hand. I totally agree with you, and I get what you're saying. It's just like I feel like there are some people who always say that like you don't have to preach too hard with your art, but it's not intentional in most of the cases, right? It's just like how you view the world as an artist and what you want to achieve with that view of yours. Like would you like to help poor people, or would you like to spread love and teach others to like be kind with each other? Or I don't know, there are so many problems that art can be a solution for within its message and within the message of the
Mhm.
artist, right? So it's like, yes, sometimes you have to preach, because other than that, how would you like to like help others, right? So it's like an ongoing process of like trying to balance those things, right? Preach and not to preach, and still be on
Yeah.
the middle ground in order to help others with your art. So yeah,
I guess it all just depends on what you're preaching,
true,
because
true, true, true.
obviously
Yeah, 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 yeah,
there's definitely ways that you can do that to
yeah.
help other people, and then there are ways that you can do that where it just undermines the quality of what you're making,
True,
and can
true,
alienate different parts of your audience.
true.
So, and I try to not preach.
I see,
Um, so my creative process is definitely based more on like intuition than anything
I
else.
see, I see, I see, I see.
And just kind of looking for images and stuff that I find compelling,
I see.
uh, and putting that into the game.
I see. You talked about, by the way, having a message, that all creators have a message, and I totally agree with you on that. What would be your message in your current game that you like, on an intentional level, or like a preaching level, or like without that, without doing that, you always wanted to have, or you have in your game, and reflecting back to the process of making it, you realize it's there? What would be that message, or that feeling, or that vibe that you always
Yeah.
wanted to have in your game?
So I think the actual core message, um, I don't want to necessarily try and define it, just because I didn't I didn't define it from the outset.
I see. I see.
I found myself creating something that I can now look at in hindsight. It's in front of me,
I see.
and I can try and figure out what I was trying to accomplish or say.
I see.
Um, but if I start putting that into words, then it can kind of, it might take away from the experience.
I see. Okay.
Not that I'm creating anything super profound or
No,
whatever,
it's understandable. Yeah, it's understandable. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
uh, but I think you can, in terms of, besides the core message, I think you can see that the game is very optimistic. The game is very like joyful,
Yeah.
and just like kind of funny and tongue in
Gamey
cheek,
game,
and
let's say, and I loved that when I first saw the trailer of your game. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, like, so we can definitely take those as like messages that, um just how I see the world, I guess.
I see. I see. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you planning to release your game, by the way, for other platforms as well? Because I was curious about that and interested in that as well.
So
Or no,
my
no,
whole strategy
just that. Sorry.
my whole strategy is that, so there's something called the 80/20 rule, which is like a rule of productivity,
Okay.
which is that basically one application of the 80/20 rule is that if you have a company um 80% of the people do 20% of the work, and
Okay.
the final 20% of people do 80% of the work.
Okay.
Um, and then you can even zoom in on the top 20%, and the same thing applies.
I
80%
see.
of them are doing 20% of the work, and 20% of them are doing 80% of the work. So even when I was at like working at this tech company before I became a game developer, you have a team of 10, 3 or 4 people are like solid engineers, and there's one person at the team who knows everything.
I see.
And that person is responsible for like almost all the team's success. So this applies also to the fruit of your labor. So 80% of what you do is only gonna bear 20% of the fruit, and 20% of what you do is gonna bear 80%. So my whole strategy from the get-go is just that um, I should, if I can't succeed on the Windows platform, there's no way I'm gonna succeed elsewhere. Um, Maybe it's not 100% true, but my thinking is that I want to take 20% of my effort and build for Windows and hopefully get 80% of the fruit of my labor from that, just because Windows is like, I think besides mobile, it's the biggest gaming space. And mobile obviously is a totally different realm of games. So if I don't see the point necessarily in like spending effort to, for example, build for Nintendo Switch and then getting a fraction of the sales that I would have gotten on Windows. The point being, I want to succeed in Windows first before I put in the effort to port to other platforms. I think I'll definitely port to Mac because that's not so hard. And the game runs on Linux just through Proton or whatever it's called. But in terms of consoles, I do want to add support for Steam Deck, but that's obviously naturally a shoot off of just the controller support.
I see.
But in terms of other platforms, I don't really have any concrete plans to do that unless I suddenly see a windfall of success. Then I'll probably do it.
I see. But I would add something to that you mentioned that if it's not succeeding, that it will never later. I don't totally agree with that because there were so many games, right, which were picked up by like favorite YouTubers and streamers and media outlets, and they were succeeding at a later date, not after, like right after the launch of the game. So it can always happen. Like
Yeah.
now it's a way different time and era for video games to shine, and especially because they are available digital and not just in via disc versions. So
Yeah. But the question is just, are you going to like put in the work to port to, for example, Nintendo
no, I
Switch?
understand you, and I agree with you what you said. It's just I'm adding to the table that it always can happen, right? That, for example, your game will be picked up by more and more people on the go, and it will shine like
Yeah.
after 1 year of the full
Yeah.
launch. So you will never know. So you don't you can never let your guards down of you know uh, believing in failure or in happiness, in my opinion, in these cases, because like you can
Hmm.
always like see that games evolved for the better, and players started to care about those games which they might not cared about, like, I don't know, 2 years ago after the launch. So yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. Was it hard, by the way, or easy to find the people to work with in your team? You mentioned that
Um,
you were working with others.
so I think I'm pretty lucky in the people that I found.
I see.
They're very talented. They did a good job, and they
I
were
see.
easy to work with. And
I
so,
see.
um, but it was hard to find them
I see.
because there's just a ton of people out there who aren't so good at what they do. No offense, and no offense to those people. But if you put a classified ad for an artist, you get 100 replies, and a lot of them are just not really what you're looking for. Um, and so, in terms of that, it was hard. But I was very pleasantly surprised then to find in those 100 applications like one person that knew what they were doing, and um, so I was very was lucky in that regard. I only needed one person, so you just have to look through 50 or 100 applications to find that one person.
I see. I thought that it's more than one person because you mentioned music and art of the game. I thought it's more.
I mean, you only need one person per job.
Oh, okay, per field.
Yeah.
Okay. I see. Okay.
I ended up working with 3 people for the early access release.
I see.
An artist named Alec Webb, a composer named Johan Jaeger, and a UI designer named Marine Vanderlellige. And all those people were very talented and very easy to work with, very professional. So I got pretty lucky, I think.
I see. Do you believe, by the way, between people in perfect synergy? Or is it something that develops out throughout the process of working together over the years?
I do not think they're so perfect synergy, probably not. Good synergy, yes.
Okay.
If you have a vision, which is the job of the game director,
okay,
and you want to realize that vision with art and music and etc. If you're not the one who's actually drawing or composing or anything, like something's gonna get lost in translation between you and the person who's actually creating it. So naturally, the better the artist and the better the director, and the longer you work together, that's going to improve. But inevitably, something will get lost. And so I think that one thing you have to do is just kind of let go of getting it perfect, and just kind of be happy with it being good or even great, but not perfect. And when you do that, then you can actually accomplish what you want to accomplish instead of trying to find the perfect artist or trying to constantly do more revisions on the same art to make sure that it's like exactly what you're imagining. That gets back to the 80-20 rule, which is that you can spend multiple times more time revising the same piece of art to get it perfect, but you're not going to get multiple times increase in value at the end. It's only gonna get a fraction better.
And sometimes even that you are making mistakes if you are trying to be perfect, right? So it can lead to times where like you're trying to be so much perfectionist that you're having all these mistakes in your art, I feel like.
Yeah. It's another way to bog yourself down and to never finish what you're doing.
True.
There's a saying that perfection is the enemy of the good. So you don't want to let perfection get in your way, and it's like a very powerful ability if you can do that. If you can just say, okay, it's good enough, let's move on to the next thing. I think Steven Spielberg has a story that he was working with an actor. They were doing a shot, and they did a couple takes, and then they moved on to the next shot. And the actor said, "Can we do a few more? Like, I don't think we really got it. I think I could do a lot better." And Steven Spielberg said, "We could do a few more takes and sit here all day and maybe get it a fraction of a percent better, or we can just go and do another great shot and just get another great shot into the film." And it gets back kind of to the kill your darlings thing as well.
True.
Like, you need to good enough is good enough usually. So
true. How do you balance your time, by the way, now that you are working full time? How do you balance your free time and work time?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you work for yourself, then every second that you spend working is a second that you're gonna theoretically gain value from. When you work for somebody else, typically you're trying to find as much time not work as you can, because you usually get paid the same amount. in any case. How do I balance my time? I mean, I think I'm just kind of you really need to understand that you're going for the long haul. And so it's the case of the tortoise and the hare, which is that you can work 7 days a week and you can work 12 hours a day and do that maybe for a year and then get crazy burnt out, and um your work is going to suffer as a result. Or you work 6 days a week, 8 hours a day, even 5 or 6 hours a day, and that's kind of what I do, and go much further, because you are letting yourself rest. And so um, it's just about kind of aligning putting your vision on the horizon and knowing that you're so uh, yeah. I mean, I work about 6 hours a day. Programming is mentally very like draining work, and so I would do more if I could, but I found that 6 is kind of where my brain stops functioning.
I see.
So I'm just kind of honest with myself about that, and then
I think it's good.
uh,
I think it's good. Yeah, because like you said, you can make mistakes after passing those 6 hours, right? So
yeah. And when I was working at a tech job, it was the same thing. I could get 6 hours of decent, 3 hours of really solid programming work, and then 3 more hours of decent programming work out a day. But then you pretend to work for 2 hours because
true.
your boss wants to see that you're on from 10 to 6 or whatever.
True.
But now that I'm my own boss, I can just stop BSing and you know, rest for those additional 2 hours so that I'm prepared for the next day.
I see. Was it easy, by the way, to learn for you where to stop and when to stop when you started working on your current project?
Yeah, I didn't really have trouble, for example, I mean, I definitely feel pressure to work as much as I can.
I see.
So that's tough, but I don't think I ever um had any issues with overworking myself.
I see. Okay. How have you changed, by the way, as a person in other territories of your own life from being a game developer for so
By
many
the way,
years with so many experiences? Yeah, sorry.
just one last point about that, about if you work for yourself, be prepared to not take any vacations. Because it's very hard to like justify the expense if you're not bringing in any money.
Yeah.
That being said, I have taken vacations, but like it's much harder. It's much harder to if vacations are very expensive. You're not getting paid when you're compared to a normal job. You're not getting paid when you're on vacation. So just a tip for anyone who's considering that: you take your vacations
I
before you quit your
respect your
job.
honesty, by the way, about this topic. Thank you for that. I respect that. Thank you for sharing it.
But you just asked how has it affected my life in other areas? Being a game developer.
Exactly. Thank you.
I mean, I think game development has been a good exercise for me just in being creative
I see. Okay.
and developing confidence that I can get things done
I see.
without having somebody like a boss to hold me accountable.
I see.
A lot of people a lot of people that I know only work because they're going to get in trouble if they don't. They want to work as little as possible. They don't like their jobs. But for me, it's kind of the opposite. I love video game development. I have a big stake in doing as much work as possible, and I don't really have trouble keeping myself accountable when
I
it comes
see.
to getting things done. So I think that's a pretty strong power to get things done without somebody telling you exactly what to do and when to get it done by.
True. And a lot of people are scared, right, to step into the fields of their dreams. Because I always say this, that I believe everyone has a talent in their life, right? Some of them might just be very scared to pursue those talents in order to gain their dreams come to life and come true. And it's because like society teaches us to do that, right? To work for a boss, work 9 to 5, and work shitty jobs that you do not like, and earn money and get a house, get a family, get a kids, get 2 dogs or
Yeah.
2 cats. It doesn't matter. So it's like society teaches us from little kids, and I think it's on one hand it's understandable because that's the society rule we live in, and it's hard not to live in this because if you don't have money you will end up on the streets, right? So it's understandable, but at the end of the day it's also like you will, if you look back on your life at the end of your life cycle, when at the best scenario it will be like 100 years, and you look back and you say that, hey, I lived a shitty life, I worked for a shitty boss and I got a good salary and I got a good house, but like, hey, I had this dream of being, I don't know, a movie star or a writer or a game developer, and I did not give a shit about it because I was scared. What I have achieved?
Yeah.
Nothing. Yeah, and it would be sad, right? So nobody wants to do that at the end of the day.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's actually an effective like mental exercise.
True.
To do.
And it's an effort to do those exercises, right? Because it's not easy, like you said, and I agree with you. Because a lot of people end up in these jobs. I'm not saying that they are shitty. Just like a lot of jobs are. I had this discussion with another game developer. Is that a lot of jobs nowadays, which are 9 to 5, are not that creative. Like for example, making a game or writing, because the bosses only let you work on those small territories of a bigger field, and you are getting paid for those small segments, portions, for just one big thing, right? Which is crazy if you think about it, because in, for example, in the AAA scene, and there are some like big companies where like they hire people for very small parts of art, right? But the artist might be doing or love to do like way bigger things, right? To the whole
Yeah.
character, and they might just end up, making the character's hair, which is very important if you think about it, because you will have dynamic hair, and it will be so cool looking and awesome looking. It's very important. I'm not saying it's not important. It's just like I feel like nowadays society rule is like to strip everything into small portions, and those small portions are now real jobs, which is like that's how people end up not evolving for their better knowledge and better talent. And it's sad because at the end of the day, like you said, you will be burnt out, not because like you're sometimes working so hard, but because you are doing the same job over and over and you are not seeing process on those like 9 to 5 jobs.
Yeah. I think for me, a part of the appeal of becoming an independent developer is just that I wanted to express my own creative vision. I didn't want to just constantly do what someone else was
Yeah,
telling me
it's
to do.
understandable, and you told us at the beginning of our interview. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and don't get me wrong, like if you a 9 to 5 job can definitely be a very good thing because
Exactly.
stability and money and
Exactly. Like I
you're
wasn't
learning.
saying it's a bad thing or anything, or it cannot be a good job. It's just I feel like a lot of people I see, even my friends, end up in a job which they don't like you said, and they are sad because of that. And they spend so
Yeah.
many years like doing the same job over and over, and they cannot see like evolving themselves in those fields because there is no option for evolving or getting better. Like they do the same stuff for a lot of years, right? And they are getting paid with a huge amount of money, and but even against those huge amounts of paychecks that they get, they still feel like, okay, I done my job, what's next, like what's to do, right? So it's boring, like.
Yeah. I think that in order to get out of that kind of like a rut,
It's like a mouse cycle, right? Or what is it called in English? It's like where the mouse is
a
mouse
mouse wheel.
circle, mouse wheel. Yeah, mouse wheel. Sorry,
Yeah.
yeah.
The way to get yourself out of that rut is because a lot of people will not quit their job or pursue their passion
True.
because they're afraid of failure or
Very
they're
true. Very
afraid
true.
of embarrassment. And I think that the way to get out of that rut is to become more afraid of not doing it.
True. That makes
Uh,
sense. Yeah.
and that's kind of where the deathbed exercise, as morbid as that might be,
True.
is actually effective because if you can if you can understand the cost of not doing something, that can be a very powerful motivator.
True.
You should also do it because you have a passion for it and you love it. And,
True.
but so, for example, I could have kept working at my job. It was a good, cushy, well-paying job, but I just didn't. I wasn't growing anymore
I
at
see.
that point, and I felt that it. I was young, and so I didn't want to spend like my late 20s, just I don't know, wasting it. Right? I think I have creative talent, and so I wanted to take that risk,
I see.
to try and take that talent and grow it into something, um, that's positive and beneficial. And if you wait too long, if you end up um, getting married, having kids, etc., that the cost of failure becomes much higher.
True. Because you have to provide, not just for yourself, but responsible
Yeah,
for others.
you have a responsibility to provide
True.
stability to your family.
True.
And so, for me specifically, like that was the right time to do it. And also, you just have to learn to like things more than you like money. People tend to make all their decisions based on maximizing how much money they have.
It's very
and
true. Sadly, I would say, yeah. Against society rules and society standards, and being afraid of that people won't like you because you don't have that much money or a big house that they have. Yeah, exactly.
And money's obviously very important. But really, all you need is enough. You don't need
True.
big pile of money.
True,
You just need enough
true.
money. And
True.
if you
I always say this, that you will never be able to like take it to your deathbed or to heaven, right? Or to other places after you pass away. Yeah.
And I think nice watches and fast cars and big houses are cool. And I would definitely enjoy that to some extent. But if you are prioritizing getting those things over actualizing your potential, or contributing positively to the world and creating art, it's a little sad, I think.
True.
Because
I agree
you're
with you
kind
on
of
that.
selling your soul for something that's ultimately
True.
not really gonna give you anything of any value. Like, it's having a supercar is mostly a status symbol. I'm sure it's fun to drive.
True.
But you're not going to be racing around in your supercar.
True. Forever.
It's mostly
yeah.
It's mostly just a status symbol. So if you can just detach from that, then you have a much stronger ability to pursue the things that are actually meaningful in your life.
True. Was this mentality that you were talking about now that you believe in was something that you learned over time, or you always had it?
I think I always had that mentality.
I see.
I definitely appreciate the simpler things in life. So, for example, having a big house is cool, but if you don't have a family to put in it, it's completely meaningless.
Yeah, very true. Yeah.
So I definitely appreciate more of the I guess you can call them simple things, but I'm not sure they are. Family and friends, and
yeah, society has
community.
this word for like simple things like you mentioned, but I feel like they sometimes it really depends on the person, right? What is more simple, right? So
yeah. But definitely I don't really have a strong desire for flashy status symbols.
I see. I respect that, by the way. I respect that because it's not that common nowadays, so I respect that. Okay. Okay, let's move back to your game, by the way. Are you planning to add seasonal content, levels, enemies, bosses, towers, or what's the plan? Or you are releasing the full game and then you are moving to another project that you would like to work on? Or it's spoiler time?
The upcoming release is going to have a lot more content. It's going to have more towers, more enemies, more level environments, more game mechanics. If I'm gonna add more stuff after that, I don't know.
I see.
Just because I take things one step at a time. I would love to keep adding stuff. And I've built the systems in a way that adding more content is relatively painless
I
because
see.
all the systems are already in place. And so adding content, it just things naturally fit into the existing systems. But again, I really can't make any promises. Like I would love to, but it all depends on if people enjoy what I've made and if I have like a community
Receive it
that's
good. Yeah.
asking for
Yeah.
those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Understandable. Okay. Are you planning to keep continue on making games, by the way, even without having any good or bad results? So, like you mentioned, it's
My
important to you, which is understandable. But are you planning to keep on working games, or are you planning to get back to 9 to 5 jobs? What's the plan for you? Or you never thought about this question?
I would absolutely love to keep making games.
I see.
Whether or not that's going to happen comes down to like a practical question.
I see. I see.
My goal now with the release, obviously, I want to make a good game. I want people to be happy.
It's understandable. Yeah. Nobody wants to
But
ship a bad game, right? So it's understandable.
yeah, but what I would love to do is to use a successful release here to empower myself to make another game.
I see. I see.
So that is the plan. Whether or not it's going to happen is sort of.
I hope it will. I hope it will. Don't get me wrong. I just
Yeah.
wanted to know that what's how do you feel about it? See.
I really can't at this point in my life can't imagine myself doing anything else. I really love making games, and so to go back to a 9 to 5 would definitely feel like a step backwards.
I see.
And if I were to go back to 9 to 5, it would all be so that I could kind of regroup and then find another way to keep making more games.
Love that.
But,
Love that.
but I really don't know what's going to happen in the future, so we'll see.
I hope the best for you, like I'm telling you, because
Thank
I
you.
can tell you that you have passion and energy for video games. Was it, by the way, a scary decision to drop out of your 9 to 5 job? I did not ask that before. Was it in any way scary for you around those times?
Yeah, I mean
when you
it's
dropped out?
it's kind of a leap of faith. So I felt that I had a very wide safety net
I see.
at that point, so it wasn't super scary in that regard. I don't know, it was a good job, and to leave it, yeah, it is scary, but you just have to kind of, again, you have to be more afraid of like not doing it than
Yeah, you said that, and it's
doing
very
it.
true.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it definitely takes a certain type of person to kind of to go the self-employed route, because the amount of risk and like the level of anxiety is a lot higher. There's a lot more pressure. The level of risk is a lot higher. And so I kind of love that feeling of kind of being the captain of your own ship, but it is very scary.
I see. Before you made this decision of yours, quitting your job and going full-time game dev, were you like planning to do it, or was it like a snap of fingers and you decided that, hey, now I'm quitting and now I'm doing game dev only?
I think for about a year before I quit, I was thinking about doing it.
I see.
And I had that feeling, and I tried to find a way within the company
I see.
to make myself happier, and I spent a year doing that and didn't really find it, and so then I quit.
I see. Okay. We touched here a lot of topics. Before I will go into some more questions, are you down to answer some questions from my chat, from my community as well?
Yeah.
Thank you. Let us know, ladies and gentlemen. Let us know if there is any question. Let us know. Bármilyen kérdés, hölgyek, urak. I will also link the Steam page of your game. I did that on my Discord, but I will do that on my chat as well. Let me do that just real quick. Bármilyen kérdés, hölgyek, urak? Any more questions? Let us know. Or any questions? Let us know. Don't forget to check out the game on the Steam page. I linked it to the chat. I linked it to my Discord server as well, so you can check it out. While we are waiting, by the way, a question for you from me. How your perspective as a player changed from being a game developer? Now that you are making your own games, how your perspective changed on games as a player when you play?
I can definitely appreciate other people's craftsmanship now
I see.
a lot more.
I see.
Because I know how hard it is to do literally everything. Every single thing in game development is really hard. So when I play other games now, for example, I really appreciate their user interfaces a lot more because that was something I really struggled with.
I see.
I can appreciate how the production of the assets, how long that takes. I can appreciate their visual and audio aesthetics a lot more because I know that that's a big challenge, and just how to make the player have fun. So definitely there's like a craftsmanship aspect to it that I always now I'm just trying to kind of take inspiration from other games, and yeah, I definitely look at it very differently.
I see.
I look at it more as like a professional than as a player now.
I see. I see. By the way, by any means, do you do art? Because I'm asking this question because of the paintings that are behind you. Do you do art as well? Or are you interested in art as well?
So,
if you don't mind me asking, of course, please tell me if yes.
No, please. For me, actually, I think video game development is art.
It's true. Yeah, it's true. It's true.
So I actually consider that my art. I have tried other mediums.
I see.
I play guitar. I love music.
Okay.
I like to just kind of
sorry.
Noodle around on the guitar and see if I can't.
I see. I see.
But whatever. I've tried drawing. I've tried other things, but really, for me, just the way that my brain works, like the video game development is definitely my most
like the full package of everything.
Yeah.
I see. I see.
Okay. But I take inspiration from all kinds of places when it comes to. So for me, like music is actually a big inspiration for game development, even though ostensibly these things have like almost nothing to do with each other. I took a ton of inspiration from music.
I see. I see. I remember myself, like I said, seeing the first trailer of your game, and there was this PlayStation Portable PSP game called My Last Hero or something like that. My Hero. It's a franchise in Japan, which is like also a tower defense game, and you have to like click out the blocks in order to create a path, and then you can spawn monsters from the blocks. And it's an evil like wizard who is like trying to protect something, and the heroes came to kill the wizard. I'm not familiar with. I cannot recall the name, but if I will let you know. So yeah, it reminded me. Your game reminded me to that game. So yeah,
cool.
yeah. Okay, let me refresh the chat because there is a question. Before I will go into asking some more questions. Sorry. Let me. Okay. Let me read back the chat. The chat is not loading back. Shit. My chat is not loading back. Sorry. Okay. Okay, Minnie is asking, are you planning to like add to have multiple characters in your game? She's asking it by the way that like are you planning to like add seasonal contents like for example at winter or at other seasons you will have seasonal characters or skins for seasonal characters or looks or maps or levels?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely love to add that stuff. It's just a matter, asset production's expensive. That's really the main cost for me anyway. So the the more success I have, the more that'll feed into creating additional content. But I really can't make any promises, like I said.
True, understand.
I would definitely love to do that.
I see. I see. Thank you for the question and answer as well. Thank you. Okay, any more questions? Any more questions? Any more questions? Bármilyen más kérdés, hölgyek, urak? Any more questions? You mentioned, by the way, like you have already plans for other games. What kind of other games would you like to make? If it's not a spoiler time, of course. So always, if you don't want to talk about it, it's feel free for you. But if you're down to talk about what kind of games would you like to do in the future? Because I'm interested. Yeah. Because like you said, you have a lot of ideas. So I'm interested. What kind of games?
I have. I think the next game I'll do will be a strategy game.
Okay.
I think tower defense is a subgenre of strategy, so certainly I've already made a strategy game.
I see.
I want to create sort of a map-based strategy game. I have a strong interest in those. Are actually my favorite kinds of games to play.
I see.
And I have a big interest in military history. So,
okay.
I think that would definitely be the next game that I would make, and I have a solid concept in mind that would also utilize, like, strongly leverage my software engineering background. And so, to me, I think in basically any creative endeavor, trying to do something that only you can do is very valuable, because it just means no one's done it before. No one can do it after you, or maybe they can do it after you did it. But the point is that you're providing something to the world that is very unique and
innovative. Yeah. And
so that's what I tried to do with the Necromancer Cometh. Was certainly other people have made tower defense games, but I tried to make one that really only I could have made. And I think the aesthetic is a part of that, but also the gameplay. And so for my next game, I want to make a strategy game, and I have some ideas how to do that in a way that hasn't been done before.
I see.
And but it's gonna be a few years before that gets released, so stay tuned. I guess.
I will be on the lookout for that. Yeah. Is it, by the way, the gameplay always which comes first in your brain, in your creative mastermind, or do you always dream about the story and the theme first when you like think of your future games? Which is the process of your mind when you think about your own games to make?
Probably gameplay is number one.
I see. Okay.
But the aesthetic, the art, and the assets and the story and everything is a strong number two, just because obviously video games are visual and they're audio. And
true. That's the first people will see, right? And hear.
Yeah. And those things go a very long way towards I call it selling the gameplay. So if you can have the exact same game with the exact same rules, but the game that has like more fun graphics is people are just gonna have more fun playing it. That's just the bottom line.
True.
And if you have a story then that ties everything together, it gives a lot more meaning to the gameplay and what people are doing. And so yeah, the aesthetic, the story, and everything, that's a strong number two for sure. But I mean, it's a game, so at the end of the day, gameplay has to be the top priority.
See. Do you have, by the way, always clear images in your head when you dream about or think about your games that you would like to make? Which kind of pieces of art would you like to put into your game as the graphical part and the animation part?
I think I have a pretty vivid imagination, so that was very useful. It's very useful with the production, the assets for the Necromancer Cometh, because I had a strong sense of what I wanted, and so I was very hands-on with the artist and making sure that we got the details right, so that things came together in a very cohesive way. And the artist can only really draw what you ask him to draw, and so the director of the game is the bridge between the artist and the composer, all the artists and all the composers. And so if you want to, the cohesive vision has to come from the director, and I think that's what I'm good at when it comes to game development.
I see. Was it hard, by the way, for you to switch to a position where now you're the boss of people who are working for you? I was interested in this topic as well. How do you feel about it? Was it hard to learn how to be a boss and to how to deal with other people who are working for you and for your vision come to the table and come to players?
Yeah, I mean, you can obviously, being an employee before you're a boss, you there are things you don't like about the way that you're managed, and I made sure to not do that when I was managing other people. I just tried to be a good manager. I think I did a decent job, but there's definitely still some challenges when it comes to that.
Okay. Any questions, by the way, ladies and gentlemen? Any questions? Now it's your chance. You will also be able to ask questions in the Discord server, but if you would like to ask any questions, feel free to do that. Bármilyen kérdés, hölgyek, urak? Bármilyen kérdés? Any questions? Any questions? We touched here, by the way, a lot of topics. Is there anything that you would like to talk about or to tell us about before I will go into some more questions?
Yeah, I mean, if people are listening and they enjoyed the discussion, it definitely helps if they check out the game, check it out on Steam.
True. Promotion time, it matters. It's the devil of the whole process, but it matters at the end of the day.
Yeah. If add it to your wish list, buy it when it's on sale if you want. Play it, leave a review. All that's super helpful when it comes to helping the game succeed. So, and we have a Discord. So if you can find the Discord page on the Steam page.
Okay.
There's a link, and so you can join the Discord to stay in touch with the new updates. We're coming out with a new update by March, in time for the spring sale, and the game's going to be much improved from that update. And you can also follow us on Twitter. You can follow us we're on Reddit too. But yeah, the Necromancer cometh. It's the name of the game. Dang Rascals. It's the name of the studio.
Thank you for that. Okay, so one of my closing questions would be, what would be your advice for all those people who would like to take the first step in order to make their dream games? From all your experiences that now you have in your bag, even from the 9-to-5 job, even from switching from 9-to-5 to game dev, and also being a game developer for so many years. What would be your very honest advice for the people who would like to start chasing their dreams in this field?
So my advice would be, firstly, you have to know what you're good at.
Okay.
And you have to be very good at it before you can get into this field and succeed. So if you're an artist, make sure you're the best at that. If you're a programmer, make sure you're the best at that. And then when you're getting into game development, you need to find people who then can supplement what you're not good at. So for me, I knew I was a good programmer, that I could do all the programming, but I knew I couldn't do the art or the music. And I had to find other people who were complementary to my talents. Additionally, you either need to have a strong vision to make a game, or you need to find someone who has a strong vision. So finding the people that you work with is very important. And I mean, it really depends, because if you're, I would give different advice to someone who wants to make a game entirely by themselves, and someone who just wants to get into game development in general. I
I
would give
see.
them two different pieces of advice.
I
But
see.
basically, the bottom line is if you are passionate about it, if you're good at it, and theoretically, if you can make money doing it, then if you give it your all, something good should happen as a result.
I see. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your honesty about this topic too. Thank you. So a closing question, which will be like a more personal question, would be from me. Do you feel like you found yourself in life from switching your 9 to 5 job to game dev? Because like we talked about it, it's important for you to, like for me, to do the things that you like and to not work by others that they told you to do. And now that you're
Mhm.
chasing your dreams and making your dream games, dream career, even if it's sometimes not be like that stable that you would like to, and you question yourself, like you talked about as well. Do you believe that you are now at the right place, right time in your life?
Yeah, I think that making this shift has given me the opportunity to find my identity a lot more.
I see, I see, I see, I see.
Because when you go independent, and this is not for everybody, by the way,
Okay.
because going independent is very hard, and some people it's just not. Basically, in any organization, you know, you usually have only a handful of leaders, and then 80 or 90% of the people in that organization are helping. They're not the ones who are uh, have the ultimate responsibility of
True,
like
true,
success or failure.
true, true, true.
And so both of those, there's two types of people, right? There's the people who lead the organization, and there's the people who are a part of the team. And you really need to understand which one you are. But I felt a calling towards having more of like a leadership position,
I
and
see, I
so
see, I see.
going my own way is a exercise in leadership, because you're saying
True,
I'm not going to just do what someone else is telling me to do.
true, true,
I'm
true,
going
true.
to try to find my own path. And so it's given me a lot of confidence, and that's definitely fed into many other areas of my life where I'm able to kind of express myself more freely
I
and have
see.
more confidence, and know that if I don't, that I have something to say, and that if I for example disagree with somebody else, that I have the power to express myself
Raise
anyway.
your voice, yeah, yeah, and not
Yeah.
just listen, yeah, yeah. Thank you, by the way, again for your honesty. I appreciate it. I really appreciate your honesty about all the topics we talked
Please.
about. Thank you, and thank you for the question, by the way, Mini, and thank you for the answer from Daniel here. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to wishlist the game, and don't forget to try out. There's a demo, right? I'm correct about it because I played
There's
it,
a
and
demo.
it's still up on the Steam page. Yeah,
Yeah.
correct.
And
Okay,
there's a new update hopefully coming very soon.
okay.
Definitely by March 13th, but hopefully sooner.
Perfect. Thank you for all the information about the game too. So yeah, you can check out the demo, ladies and gentlemen, and if you like the game, be on the lookout for the new updates and the full release as well. Thank you, by the way, Daniel, for being here with us
Thank you.
on
Thank you for giving me the
today's
opportunity to talk
episode.
about my game.
Thank you so much, and I really appreciate your honesty. Like I said, I will need some more of your minutes of stream, but for those who were watching us on stream or will be watching back our YouTube version of this interview, thank you so much for joining in today's episode. And yeah, have a great day or night, depending where you live, everyone. Thank you, and have a great day or night. Bye bye, everyone. Bye bye.